Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajaman Harana Bhava Bhaya Darunam. Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajaman Harana Bhava Bhaya Darunam. Navakanjalochana Kanjamukhakara Kanjapada Kandarpa Amita Chavinava Nila Niraja Sundaram Patapita Manav Tadita Ruchi Shuchi Naumi Janaka Sutavaram Shri Ram Shri Ram 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 Siya Ram Shri Ram Shri Ram 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 Siya Ram Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajaman Harana Bhava Bhaya Darunam Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajaman Harana Bhava Bhaya Darunam Navakanjalochana Kanjamukhakara Kanjarunam Kandarpaganita Amita Chavinava Nila Niraja Sundaram Patapita Manavu Tadita Ruchi Shuchi Naumi Janaka Sutavaram Shri Ram Shri Ram 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 Siya Ram Shri Ram Shri Ram 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 Siya Ram.
Now I'm audible.
Ram Ram Father.
Okay. What does a moon tan look like? Moon tan. Know what a suntan is? So what is a moon tan? Huh? That's it. This year's satsangs are going to be like this. Zen mode. Huh? Got it? Own hand doesn't feel good. I thought we were still on what it is. You're already on how it feels. So what is it that doesn't feel good? Yeah. Good. Okay, thank you. Just have to go to the left a bit. Gone? Yeah. Somebody has to break this music. Yeah.
I've been feeling like it's been very easy for me to be in presence for the last few weeks. Could this also, and there hasn't been any extra effort to remain in God or presence. Like it's the same as it's been over time. The same, like, 30 minutes to an hour of meditation a day, which I know I should be doing more. But anyway, could this also be like a mind trick where it's like sometimes I'm like, wow, like it's been so good. But is that ego?
What do you feel in your heart?
I feel like it's just naturally flowing. Like it's just It's feeling like almost effortless sometimes.
No getting angry, irritated. Then don't fall for any mind trap saying that, no, this is too good to be true. It can't be like this. And neither into any complacency, saying, oh, now for me, it is easy. You see, so the minute the me starts getting a hold of it, the ease will go and it'll become a mental position. So just, you said natural. Actually, this is the most natural. You see, the most effortless is to be like this in the present. To step out of the presence will start to feel like effort. It feel like such a bother, no? If you had to uh, think about past or future or how good or bad somebody is. All these will start to feel like they are more trouble. Just to be empty of the me in the presence of being. You said you have something. Okay.
I felt you dropped some bombs yesterday with the texts you sent. Yeah, it was Sunday.
Yes,
Yeah, it was yesterday. There were especially a couple that I forwarded to my WhatsApp.
yeah.
Yeah, and I at the moment I felt maybe it would be nice if you can expand on this. And one was about perfectionistic pride. It felt pretty strong when I read it. I read it like several times. It says it has nothing to do with genuine contrition or compunction. It's simply the sadness that comes from pride in recognizing that we are not as big a shot or as perfect as we thought we would be.
Yeah. It's good. No? It's good. Many times we can get into this sort of spiritual lamentation, you see, which has a disguise of humility. Oh, actually, I'm being so humble uh, by recognizing I haven't got anything yet. You see, I'm just starting out. All this, it's not in the words, but the where it is coming from can be that we had a very spiritual idea about ourselves and an idea of achieving it, getting it, you see, understanding everything. And then something comes along, maybe in satsang, maybe outside, and we realize that we have no clue what's happening. So what gets attacked is our spiritual pride a lot of times. But our mind can come and weave a story around it that this is actually contrition or repentance, or I'm just feeling so open in my heart because I'm repentant. Many times I'm just feeling bad that I don't even know what I'm doing in spirituality. So suppose you're faced with a very basic sounding unanswerable question in satsang. Not like Montan or go to the left. But where is God? And somebody asks you, just where is God? You've been in satsang long enough, you should be able to tell where is God. And you realize you don't have a clue. You see? So then what may happen is that there may be a very natural turning to humility, or there may be just like a lamentation, like a tantrumy, oh, what am I doing? I haven't really understood anything at all. You see? And the label we may put around that is humility. Yeah. So the idea of spiritual achievement is just big trouble. That's what we were talking about. It's good to notice, but it's good not to make a me out of it. Because the instant you make a me out of it, then there will be pride in that. You see? So there is ease here now by God's grace. Or I am able to now stay at ease with God. You see, I am not actually able to, but the mind will propose it as if I have made some. So just to take everything as a gift, especially in prayer and in our sadhana, to take everything as a gift and not to get into any position making. And the notion of enlightenment in the modern world has also caused a lot of this freedom or enlightenment. Has caused a lot of this idea of getting close to freedom or getting close to enlightenment, or even getting to enlightenment because you have some experience of something, even an awakening experience. Yeah. So we can get into this trap of me now being special because of something that God gifted to me. So something God gave to me is somebody came to your house for Christmas and gave you a gift. And you decide that you are special because of that. What would you say? What is the mark of spiritual attainment for myself? Huh? That's a contradiction in terms. Because if there is spiritual attainment, there is no myself. And if there is myself, there is no spiritual attainment. So when we try to put these together, that now I have accomplished this level. I am in the, what is that? Mansion 7. But there's no I left there, because that is the mansion of union. So there can be a reporting in ease, in gentleness, from a noticing, which is fine. But the minute it becomes a claim, ownership, which makes something to do with me, special, then that is where the trouble starts. You climb a ladder on which you are supposed to dissolve by the time you get to the top. Now, if you made it to the top, is that good news? This is not a Zen thing. This is straightforward. You were supposed to dissolve on the way to the top. So if the ladder is doing its job, now if you made it to the top, is it good news? It's not good. You beat the ladder. It's more like you beat yourself. So then what happened? The ladder got switched, no? Or got convoluted. Yeah. Or the downward ladder started to feel like what the upward ladder. And to Sonali at the back. George. Yeah, contemplation.
Contemplation. There was also a message which sort of stayed in my mind, and it was like, if you don't not starting on this journey is as
There are only two errors. What is it?
yeah, not starting and not finishing, not going to the end. So if you look at this ladder simile, and okay, we started the ladder and not going to the end, and that I was just thinking that is that I don't know. This thought was like sort of. I guess it was bothering me because I was feeling like I'm not like serious about going to the end. Maybe, you know, like I just started and then it's all God's grace and it'll happen and so on. Maybe I don't know, but why this has just got stuck in my head.
Kierkegaard said that spirituality and specifically surrender is a medicine which, if half swallowed, causes more trouble than if you didn't swallow the medicine at all. It's very insightful. It is one of those medicines. They say about antibiotics also. In his time, there was no antibiotics, I feel, but if you do just half the course, then apparently the strongest bacteria stay back and they cause you more trouble than when you started. You see? So there are various ways in which we can look at this. Like when we're just about starting to mature on the spiritual path, there are a lot of concepts which still seem very alive at that point. You see, so if you're left in that just conceptual understanding, thinking that is the finality, you see, then that can be big spiritual pride. The whole Ravan syndrome that we talk about can happen. You see, there's also this whole, what is it? Dunning, what is that curve? Dunning-Kruger something curve, where like most things, immediately they seem very easy. Then as you stay on, then it starts to seem like it really is. And then we start to. So many times it happens, especially we were ranting about today's spirituality. So, it can just feel like, oh, but now, finish. So we can be left with the idea of now finished, which is not really true, because Maya doesn't work that way for most of us. So the idea that a glimpse of reality equals divine union is big trouble. And the narratives around this are so rampant that if you see that you are awareness, then you are free. But can you, Bhagwan's guidance was to remain as that, to abide in that. Now, if it was not seen with intuitive eyes, that I am that, then the instruction to abide in that is pointless, isn't it? So he is only saying to those who are coming to the recognition of this to abide in that, to remain in that. So it cannot be that I am not at all meaning to imply that the glimpse is not holy. It's very holy, it is very beautiful. But for that to mean that it is the end of my spiritual journey is trouble. So that's one lens with which you can see. I have to ask the author, this was also Thomas Keating or the Buddha? It could be Zen also, so we can't say. I'm sure somewhere he also said there's no finishing. So what to do? That's why mostly for Shiva I posted some of the things, no? My Graham Priest and some of the others where it's fairly apparent throughout for those who are truly seeking that the mind sensory mechanism is not enough to go to the, or to fully at least define the project that we are on.
Yeah, I'm going back to what you posted, Father. So there's one in which you said that four things have to be dropped. No desire for being empty, no desire for peace. So that really like hit me because I don't know if I'm in that state ever, because very rarely it's I'm naturally feeling that way when I sit for focus prayer, and it's truly that way, but that's very rare. Like for example, today as I sat for focus prayer, there were a lot of thoughts and I was constantly distracted. And I could recognize this today, what you wrote, Father, that I had a desire to be empty. I had a desire to be peaceful. And like you're saying, I could be neither in that session. So,
yeah.
So how do I...
What is the mechanics of desire and what is the mechanics of empty? If you just look at that, that will resolve it. What is the mechanics of desire? What do you have to do to desire something?
I want it.
Yes. So how do you know that you want it?
It's a thought, a mental
thing which you give your belief to.
Yes, Father.
Isn't it? Then it becomes a desire.
Yes, Father.
So then it feels a bit like a knot inside us.
Oh, yes, Father.
And then that knot seems to linger for a bit because it's activated by our belief over and over. And then when that knot is open, then you feel empty. Yes, so that opening is the empty that we are talking about. And the desire is the opposite process.
Yes, Father.
So if we say that I'm using this ladder so diligently, why am I not going up? Huh? It is because we are using it diligently to walk down.
Okay.
It's not about you. I'm just saying that
no, it's true. Yeah.
Desiring is grasping. You see, grasping is the taking a position that I am somebody. Can you desire for something without being somebody? Without taking yourself to be somebody?
No, Father.
You see, because what will that mean to you?
Yes, Father.
If you are beyond space and time, what in this world can mean anything to you? Nothing. You see, so to desire, there is an object of desire, but we've objectified ourselves in the process. We can't do it without that, isn't it?
Yes, Father.
Like, unless you take yourself to be an object, you cannot desire an object.
Yes, Father.
So if I'm going to fast, tell me.
No, Father. This is so far. It's fine.
So if you take yourself to be an object, that is the shape we are talking about. You see? So empty is being empty from that shape. And desire is to take shape. You see?
Yes, Father.
So when you take shape, it is temptation, it is desire.
Okay, Father.
Because the mind offers some proposition on which we decide to take shape now. You see? It could be just a simple proposition of right and wrong. She is right, I am wrong, or mostly she is wrong, I am right. This kind of position gives shape to us, not really, but a presumed shape, an idea of somebodyness to us. And in that idea of somebodyness, we are not empty. You see? So contemplative prayer, or the invitation, I don't know how this is being said, but the invitation to God to bless our contemplative prayer is the emptying of ourselves. So it is said that the last desire we must have is that we have no more desire. You see? So that becomes a pointer then, and then we let go. And that is then the invitation to God to lift us up in a way. A simple way to look at it is that He will not bother you if you're too busy.
Sorry, Father.
He will not bother you unless you're too busy. Unless, what am I saying? Other way around. If you're too busy, He will not bother you. Is that what I said? I said both. It's that kind of thing. So if you're too busy planning, if you're too busy resolving some things, if you're too busy wanting, if you're too busy being averse to something, then He allows us to be busy. The path to being desirous of God is not through desire. That's why spirituality is different. Path to satisfaction with God is to be empty of ourselves. So I don't know whose quote that was, but all of these, the signal is that in spirituality, our desire for even these holy sounding things can get in the way. So we must be empty of wanting peace or wanting a spiritual experience or anything like that. So we cannot say that either as a blame or as a happening, that something happened to me that I was in desire. Because nobody can force us to be busy with regards to God. The mind can only offer. It cannot force. It can sound forceful, but it really can't force. If it could, then there was no room for spirituality at all. If it could, it would. And then there's no room for spirituality. How's the moon tan? Was there another prompt? I should stop posting these. I get in trouble for all these people saying all this.
It's Thomas Keating too. It says persistent guilt is a psychological dysfunction rather than a spiritual virtue, because divine forgiveness is instantaneous upon the act of being sorry. If you have guilt feelings for more than 10 or 15 seconds, it's neurotic. Definitely crazy. As soon as you're sorry, God has totally forgotten whatever our faults were. So I feel it's something we, or at least I fall into on the spiritual path, because we're trying to be cautious about not falling into traps, and then we focus on that too much. Then we focus on that too much instead of just letting go when we see it.
Yes. And a lack of faith.
Yeah.
No? Like, what is the problem of the prodigal son? Lack of faith. That we don't have faith because our faith in our heart shows us that He is compassionate and merciful. You see? But we apply our own judgments that we use on ourselves and on the world to ourselves in this situation, instead of realizing that we are dealing with the most merciful one. That's why in that sense did Hanuman Puddharji say that he doesn't know how to do even justice. He knows how to do only mercy. So suppose that the most powerful one, the only powerful one, knows how to do only mercy, and you are repentant for whatever has happened. Then finish. No? Then to carry around guilt then is to not recognize either that you're truly repentant or that he is all powerful and only merciful. You see? It sounds very strange to us because it's very different from how the world operates. In the world, to hold a resentment is very normal and then takes years for the resentment to go. You see? So this instant forgiveness, no matter what the provocation was, seems too much. Then was a sage like Hanuman Poddar lying? Because we have this very, the mind has this very hypnotic way of discarding what the sages have told us. Because I don't know what it does to us, including myself. I don't know what it does to us, so it just makes it kind of, okay. So when you hear that he is only merciful, and he is not even concerned with justice, only mercy, that should be the best news. Because there's no room for then our individual guilt. If we recognize the error of our ways, which there's only one error ever, there's only one sin, which is to hold back on our love, is to not love. So if we recognize that we did not come from love, or we are not coming from love, and we recognize the error of that way, then we are forgiven. You see? Now the mind says, but that's just way too convenient. It's because that's how we operate in the world. Yeah. 900 चूहे खा के बिल्ली हज को चली. You see? It is said like that in the world. The cat ate 900 mice and now is going for Hajj. That sounds like it's a very skeptical way of looking at things. Now, our mind doesn't like this because somewhere the mind feels like God will get fooled like we get fooled. Somebody taking him for a ride. That doesn't happen. It's impossible to do. Like saying the elephant's trunk decided to take the elephant for a ride. Yeah, like we can go to the courtroom in this realm and we can try and fool the judge. So in the same way, we'll try and fool God also. We can't do that. You see? But to stretch it out, saying I'm so bad, I'm like this, I'm this way, is a full lack of faith in the Father who loves us. That I'll never be accepted back. It's just a way of avoiding God, basically. So many times in our lamentations is another avoidance technique by the mind to avoid God. So that's the two punch of Maya. Yeah. To learn to have complete faith in His mercy, in His power, firstly, and the way that He is. That's why very important to read the stories of Ram, Krishna, Jesus. Because they give us an insight into how he is. King David. So, but if you look at of course, King David, but if you look at the lives of the incarnation, you find so much to learn. Like, is there anyone that Jesus did not forgive? Including Judas. Imagine that your best friend or one among your best friends sells you literally for 2 pieces or 2 bags of silver, and you're being crucified in the most painful, tortured and crucified in the most painful manner, and yet to have only forgiveness. So if the son is like that, how would the father be? You don't learn because we are too busy poking holes. And now what about but what about, yeah, so leave that. Just, what about this? Isn't there something to learn from this? So without this faith, without this forgiveness and compassion, or at least the intention to have this forgiveness and compassion, all talk about just being empty is just going to be talk. Because the mind comes with grievance. If you haven't forgiven, where are we going to be? Empty. So never get into this sort of trap which says that, yes, I can hold a grievance, I don't forgive, but I am just going to be empty and be with God. It's just not possible. Why has Maya planted those seeds in us of grievances and resentments? So we've given Maya our remote control. You're sitting in deep sadhana, everything is starting to get recollected, and ta-dang, trump card number 7. What about this one? Are you okay with what he did to you? Gone. So it's a full like finishing school. It finishes us off. Spirituality is the finishing school. Can't hold any pride, any resentment, any guilt, any unworthiness, any desire, any of that.
thoughts that were shared about perfectionism, and also about how not to hold on to guilt, not to be striving to be perfect, not to. They kind of also really good. Lot of wealth hidden in that, actually. And also because I felt that, you can't really, unless you do that with yourself, you can't do to others. So if you don't forgive yourself and move on, and you don't see, do you see yourself as a big doer who did all this wrong? The other side of it is you also are a doer who does all this right. That's equally bad, sort of. And then you also are seeing the person in front of you as a doer who's doing all wrong, all right. And the same with perfectionist. I'm so hard on myself, I'm going to think the person in front is an idiot. And it's just the whole thing. It's like it's a real rigmarole. It's so easy for us, in the first steps in spirituality is like we let down that we shouldn't think that we are great. I'm not great, I'm just ordinary and all that. But that I am still adding all that stuff to it, right? I am ordinary, I am a sinner, I'm a guilty, I am this. So it is actually so much bondage in all this way of thinking. So they're great pointers because it's so easy for us to pick up half of everything.
Exactly.
That place of love, that's the sin, because it's only in that place where I can truly repent and I'm immediately forgiven. Because here I'm not, it's just a verb, it's just a logical repent. It's not really like a heart, like you see that you did, you were whatever mean or whatever that was. But only when I'm in that space can I see my true, a true repentance. And from there only you feel light when you really, like you really ask. You feel it's gone. And I had forgotten that, Father. I had forgotten that place of sin because I was irritated with that. Yeah. And I'd forgotten that. My mind was telling me something logically, but I hadn't gone to that place of love. I hadn't gone there. I'd forgotten that. Thank you.
Just take the next left. We'll find out. Left होगी. No, I feel you've gone too far. Somehow do diagnosis. No, not there. Not there for sure. Mm. What happens when you mix air and water? Mm. Bubble, soda. Oh, like mystical. How much we struggle for a point. What is the point? Yeah, we struggle for a point. 15 love. Okay, serious. What is the point? A point is a unit of, like, what is the point of what he's saying? Can become a struggle, like nobody knew in Satsang, otherwise they would have left by now. But because what's the point of what he's saying? What is the point? A unit of meaning, a unit of understanding, a unit of conceptual knowledge. What does that give to us? Huh? A unit of peace. Yes. Reason, no? Reason. What is the reason? Different from a point? So what in us does it satisfy? Like a meaning, a reason? What does it give to us? No? Yeah. Feeling? So that idea, having that idea versus not having that idea, what changes in us? No, I'm saying that suppose you didn't have this idea, that the point of sitting on the floor is so that uh, your eighth chakra gets activated. That's why all Indians sit on the floor. So now you have this point. So what did you get? No, I'm just asking. Yeah, so you found what? You found like a unit of truth. Hmm? So that unit of truth uh, satisfies what in us? That unit of truth that we get in this conceptual way satisfies what? Clarifies confusion. So confusion is at what layer? Mental, intellectual. So something was feeling a bit leaky, and something seems to plug that leak. Now, besides this play of leaky roof and plugging in, what is in our existence? What exists? Does that place need interpretive help? Does that place, which is not the leaky roof nor the plugging in, does that need help in interpretation? Translation. How can I conceptualize that? Or do I even need to? Exactly. See? So, is the presence of God or the heart helpless without the concepts of the intellect or the mind?
It seems like no, there is no intellect needed to know the pureness of being, because that's how we are all born. But there's so much confusion that's implanted after that. So it's almost like, feels like the reverse needs to be done to some extent to clear that dust again, or whatever it is. And then it becomes a habit, which comes in one's way. Like as for me, I'll just speak for myself. Let's take lightning strikes killing people. In the good old days, we would say, it's beyond the human intellect, it's God's will, we should not interfere. And eventually somebody figured out that if you put a metallic conductor, it can save lives or whatever. Now that success of solving that external problem makes one believe that, oh, I have to use thought to solve these problems. And then we get stuck in a loop. So it's always
but what have the scientists told us? The one who even solved this, what have they told us? Mostly they tell us that I thought and thought and thought and thought. And then, when I didn't think, then there was a moment of insight.
Right.
Isn't it? Mostly, if you look at most of the great discoveries, they've told us that there's a moment of insight which is a separate region from thought. Right? So if that is the realm of spiritual and scientific insight.
But Father, that split between God and the mind is set up because when that scientist was trying to solve that problem, even through intuition and not the mind, there were probably 50 people running around saying this is God's will and creating confusion. And so then multiple instances of this just creates this
because
constant.
they were not saying it is God's will from God's will.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You were also saying it is God's will from the mind.
Yeah.
The mind is the peddler of confusion. Right?
Yeah.
How strange must it be that we, and I continue to get into this trap that once I leave God, then I'll be able to resolve something. And even more strange is that if I leave the place which is the moon-tan place, or come to the place which is the moon-tan place, then I'll be able to find the sun. And what is the mind's version of the sun? Huh? But what is it? Imagination, dark, empty, visual. If you want Nirguna, then dark, empty, visual. If you want Saguna, then all imagination is available to you. You see, what else do we want, according to the mind? If we say dazzling darkness, also it will present a dazzling darkness, like a solar eclipse. Yeah? So how to leave this one? So help. How to leave that the realm of make-believe is Maya. And even Maya is powerless if met with the full picture. Maya's power is only that we meet it halfway through. Like if you were to meet this moment in its full picture, there's no trouble. But what do we leave out? What I call the elephant in the room. Yeah. The full picture. The full picture being, are there only perceptions here? Are there only perceptions here? So if you were not to leave out the unperceivable, try and suffer, it fills us up. There is no room for suffering. You see? Have you noticed this? Yes, yes. So it can seem like, while we are in this waking state, it can seem like it is all just perceptions. You see? Now, in this moment, is that true? A simple question like who witnesses these perceptions can be used to look at the truthiness of that statement. And you realize, even like most of us in Advaita Vedanta will know even conceptually that that is not true, but try to find it more than conceptually. But even that conceptual reminder helps. Right now, where are you witnessing all of these perceptions from? As a perception, you're witnessing them? Can a perception witness other perception? So even if we were to look at the full picture, and we have to use that language, we have to use that language, although it can't really be looked at in the traditional sense. But if you were to recognize the full picture of what this is, then what is the suffering? If we insist that the bottom half of the elephant is all there is, then what to do? Then obviously the legs will feel like pillars only. So then within that half picture, we make claims to the truth. But that claim is already negating the proverbial better half. So if there were two sides of this photograph, on one side the cup is empty and the other side the cup is full. Is the cup empty or full? You see? And this is what the human condition is. This fighting about this. But who's looking fully? Okay? Is your life just a bundle of perceptions right now? So the one who sees that there's some, let's call it light for the moment, beyond perception. What is the nature of that one who sees that? See? So it becomes a condition, a conditioning that we forget all of this and take ourselves to be a bundle of flesh. Just a picture, a set of perceptions in this realm. But that is not our most direct experience also. Nobody is experiencing themselves as just a body. They're experiencing the sensations and perceptions that we call a body within the soup of perception. Huh? So what is the truth here? It's like asking, is the cup empty or full? On one side of the frame it is empty, other side it is full. So what is the truth here? To recognize truly our helplessness against a simple question like this, because we claim to be the peddlers of truth of so much of our lives, and yet we can't talk about really the truth of this moment. You see? So that is humility. To not make a claim beyond our actual insight. Now, this question, what is the truth of this moment? No matter how much you squeeze into your head, you cannot fully answer. So then where to go? You see? The problem is that, are we able to meet the question at all? Right now, half of you must be gone. What is he on? And it's not a question of blame, it's a question of there is a resistive force which doesn't allow you to meet the most simple question. it likes more complexity. You see? If I tell you what is the story of your life so far, you see, and I say, what is the story of this moment right now? You see, can we spot the absurdity in that at least? At least then we should spot something is wrong somewhere, no? How is it that we are able to jump in and say, yes, I thought you'd never ask. This is the story of my life. You see? But one moment of your life, if I ask you, if you're being honest, you will find a doorway there to a greater truth. If you're being stubborn, then you will try to frame it into very tiny frames. So, simple question like, is it only perceptions here right now? Can lead you to the, don't frame any of this, but can lead you to the doorway of the temple that I'm talking about. What is the difficulty in answering this question? What is the difficulty in this question? Because it needs an observation beyond perception, isn't it? To be able to report on the isness of something which is beyond perception. What tool will we use for that? So whether we are in wonder about whether God is here, or the fact that God is here, or in wonder about this fact that here, that which we call here, perceptions are just a set of moving imagery in that. What is the substratum on which they happen? That is a great wonder. It is a great awe. So this year, my feeble attempt is to try and bring some wonder and awe back into spirituality, our spirituality. Not the jadedness and God, but this kind of. Yes, Nirguna Brahman. I know I'm Nirguna Brahman, but but what? What? You just made a claim that you are beyond the universe. And how quickly we can go to, yes, but what happened is that my pressure cooker is not working so well. What? That conceptually we've just normalized and made a part of like a spiritual jargon that the highest, the self, God, Nirguna, Saguna. You see? This year, let's try and like feel it. Not at the feeling level, but just feel it at a more primal level. Because it's not a lack of concepts now. All of you have all the concepts you need. All of us have all the concepts we need. But that form of denial, which is like a normalizing of that which is beyond normalization. You see? We are stuck in that. So let's see if we can break out of the chai shop satsang mode. Like chai shops of these spiritual places, with everybody talking about big things, but there's no wonder in that. Yes, I knew I was the self 7 years back. What do you think you are? There's no fragrance in that. There's no power in that. It's just intellectual stuff. So let's weigh on the weighing scale of our intuition and the weighing scale of our faith. Let's weigh the concepts we already have also. This is really, we don't need to add new ones. We just meet what we already know or think we know. That itself will be. Is that a point? Is it? Can something be true and ineffable at the same time? It's a good start. But the question was more, is it a possibility that whatever that X is can be true and ineffable at the same time? So you answered that with an illustration, with an example of yes. Now, is there a boundary which says it can only be love? No. That's it. Is it a situation where the exception maketh the rule? So we got the love exception, now everything else has to comply to this rule. It's not that. So that itself should fill us with wonder.
So every problem then is at the level of the pressure cooker, right?
Yeah.
There is no gradation in the ultimate way that you're speaking. And which is why it seems so hard to read Maharaj, Nisargadatta Maharaj sometimes, because he's not allowing any accommodation for any problem.
Yeah.
Right? He never allows. He just says, in my world, there are no problems. Yeah. And that's why it feels like a constant beating.
Yeah.
But there seems to be no other way than that seemingly merciless way, the way he...
Yeah, I don't know.
No, so how do you as a teacher meet that? Because it's at one level, it's true, everything is a pressure cooker problem.
So I feel that the way as God has moved things here is sometimes like this, sometimes like that, sometimes like this, sometimes like that, which is more troublesome, I guess, for all of you. But just to not be conclusive in our words, even about that which sounds very absolutist. But in the sense that conclusiveness in the point of making one statement is almost unavoidable, unless you start adding maybe, could be to everything. So then what you do is you go the other way. So sometimes left, sometimes right. Because if we figure that what is the danger of being relentless in that way, and in a way this expression was for a few years, is that that can easily be templatized and become a truth in the head. You see? Which is the opposite of his intention, of course, because everything that he's sharing is meant to take us beyond the head. But we can just look at the few main concepts in I am that and take that to be true. And then that can be, we can also beat anyone with that same stick without having that insight. Anyone can take almost scriptural text like that and conceptualize it and use it as a stick to beat up others like he used to with good intention to bring them to the heart. But we can do a lot of Advaita policing with that. You see? So, and then what do the others learn from us in that process? They learn to do the same thing. You see, so we spread that. You see? And there's a lot of that being spread in modern spirituality. You see? Don't you know that you are not this? Without any movement from the heart of whether what is that is needed in this moment. So can we have a pathway to God, or like a million pathways to God, which are not really possible to define? It's very troublesome to that leaky roof which wants the point. You see? So I was saying that in a singular statement, it's very difficult because the way language is designed is to make a point. You know? So then what you have to do is just constant rotation. Just constantly keep turning that car around so that the passengers can't settle. At least not settle in the wrong place. Is it like that? Something like that. Yes. Guilty and charged. Because a half-cooked chicken is going to be terrible without the rotation. Half is suntan, half is moontan. Is it a fun ride for the mind? Of course not. Well, it can be if you want to have fun with it. But when we are grasping for point, then it maybe not. And if you look at it, even somebody like Maharaj made it very clear. Afternoon, I have bhajans and we talk about bhakti. Evening, we talk only Advaita Vedanta. That is round. No? So how to meet Maharaj fully? Was he a bhakta or jnani? Depends on the time of the day. Exactly. Of course. And then where is Krishna now? What comes and goes is not real. So all these temples you have and pujas you have. You don't need a guru in form. You're the biggest form of a guru in the world. No, I'm just saying, I'm not at all casting any. I mean, far be it from me to cast aspersion on Bhagavan. I'm just saying that can't help it, no. Because a statement has to sound like a statement. It's only when taken fully do you realize it's all round up. What is our path? We go round. It's very concept. One of my favorite spiritual teachers is Swami Sachidanandendra Saraswati. You can be a disciple. If you can't say his name, you can't be a disciple. So, so his path of teaching is Adhyaropa Apavada, which means that it's a very fancy Sanskrit way of saying first you make a claim, then you say that claim is nothing, and then you fall into the truth. Brahman is all there is, Brahman is all there is, Brahman is all there is. Brahman is nothing, Brahman is nothing, Brahman is nothing. Same. So he took from the Upanishads, he showed us the pathway of Adhyaropa Apavada, which is the claiming very forcefully, and then completely denying that claim. So when the sages used all these techniques, you see, what is it? What is the intention? It is Zen. It is Zen. Because if you can say it is Zen, then it is not Zen. You see, therefore, it's not Zen. If you treat your mind, intellect softly, it's a tool to be handled just gently. If you become strong with it, then nothing but suffering and pride. And not at all. What can we really say? We can't even say that we can't say anything. So many years back, I looked at my Facebook and I felt like the whole world is becoming spiritual. I just looked at it like everybody's posting quotes from sages and everybody's talking Advaita and doing all of this. Then I remembered I had another Facebook account for work. So I logged into that one. And in that account, it felt like the whole world is only interested in materialistic things and grasping and, what they are buying, where they're eating, where they're traveling. It's only all of that. So the so-called echo chambers of social media became very apparent to me that day. that it gives us the picture that the whole world is like that. Actually, it is just a feed. Your feed is like that because it's programmed to engage you. So that's how Maya works. It will feed us what we want to engage with. Okay? So if we have a propensity for pride, it'll find situations for us to feel pride. Propensity for guilt, it'll create situations where, because it doesn't want to do extra hard work. But when you start letting it go, then all these tricks start to fall flat. The best part is it's quite nice, isn't it? To let go of the mind. Quite nice. Initially, it's a struggle, and we must use the tools which we've been given. But nobody lets the mind go and complains. I was so much better off with the mind, judging right, wrong in every situation, filling myself with desire and aversion, often to the same thing very fast. Yeah. He wants to really live like that. Yeah, can't even say that. What is the truth? What to say? Yeah. What did you send me? She sent me a reel. What do you hear? Yeah. What have you been instructed now? Mohati. It's okay. I had quite a bit. Yeah. I see. I just kept hearing the first one. What is it? Green. It's the green thing I kept hearing. Green needle. Oh. So she's still caught up in thought after all these years. I know. Just nice. Okay, play it with audio.
If you're thinking green needle, you would say green needle, but if you're thinking brainstorm, you would say brainstorm.
Anybody heard brainstorm?
Okay. Think brain.
Storm the brain. Brainstorm. You hear brainstorm? I've heard it too often. It's become conditioning now. I need to do some self-inquiry. Who's hearing green needle?
Where you can choose green needle now. Green needle.
I never hear brainstorm. Brainstorm? It's still green needle. I'm obviously very attached to green needle. Yeah. 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 No. I felt it'll be like the Magak effect. Then I tried not to look at the words, but it was still the same for me. Green. You here? Green either.
Well, at the same time,
It's enlightened. What do you hear? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so differently. What is the truth? I have to sit so far. It's a good thing we broke this wall, huh, Jyotima? You remember there was a time where I was like, why do we have to break this wall? There's never going to be more people than this.
right?
10. It's one side of this. And also in COVID days, that side. The couch used to be. We could squeeze in still. Sardine. And that gives more a satsang feel, no? Just struggle to hear it. Then it must be really valuable. Yes. Father, if God is always forgiving, don't quite understand what the idea of hell means. Isn't it like a punishment? It appears in all religions as far as I know. Christianity speaks of an eternal hell. Is it more like we create our own experience of hell when we are not in God's presence and we cling to ego and falsehood? Yes. Hell is God saying, okay, have it your way. That's why The Good Place was a very good show. It was a little not so entertaining, but so I didn't really finish it, but it asked a very important question. Oh, really? Yeah. That's an important question. Like, how do we know this is not the bad place or the good place? If it is about separation, both are here. I don't feel like it's about the roasting and the heat and things like that. It's more about, because we know the stories of so many sages that in their love for God and being in His presence, they went through all of this happily. So to cling to Maya is the only hell that I am aware of. And to cling to God's feet is the only heaven that I am aware of. You know, the trick about hell is only that it makes you believe it is heaven, or makes you believe in the possibility of it becoming heaven. Just that one more step, one bunch of rupees, one happy relationship, one something healthy body, one understanding in eye. That's it. Constant carrot of heaven is the very premise of the show. And you can't blame me for spoilers now. It's at least 10 years old. They say they are told that they have been selected to come to heaven. All of them very happy. And this one, Kristen Stewart, she realizes that there's been an error. She got misdirected. She was meant to go to hell, but she was sent here. So throughout her time, at least in the first season, she's worried about whether she's getting found out. So she's living in the so-called heaven with the constant worry, anxiety about being found out and what's going to happen, and just managing all of that. You see? So then what do they realize? They're in hell. You see, because in heaven you would not be like that. Anyway, I didn't put it across well, but you're getting a sense of it. That you go there and you live in anxiety and you're constantly trying to manage things. It's a very good question to ask. Like if we are like living like this on this world, then do we need another hell? Is this not enough? We constantly have to manage things, is it? And we constantly like in this, also in this imposter syndrome. Oh, I have this now, but do I really deserve it? And will it be taken away from me? And all this kind of thing. Good one. So she finds out, or one of them finds out, she finds out that this is hell, that they're being tortured, that it looks all nice on the outside, but actually they're being tortured through this. You see, where will you live? What will your house be like? Will you get to live in this nice accommodation? Who will be your partner? Who will, all of these things. So she comes to the conclusion at the end, which is not true to form, but she realized that this can't be heaven. Yes, wipes out the memory, no? Because they wanted season 2 or something like that. They end up remembering. Okay. like some sort of memory. It's like a reincarnation type idea. Yes, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. We show now. That's very nice. That's a nice one. It's like the line in Hotel California. This could be heaven. Who can say? I'm going to just move to a Zen monastery. You want to take the mic? Yeah. Kierkegaard is the prophet? Kind of. I have to watch this show. The good place.
Really wanted to contemplate it future, because there much longer which one she said that. Talk about the truth. So she said that. So whatever your current level of like what you've read in the Psalm or whatever was at that moment, for you that is the truth and you're living that. And it's not wrong, but when you come into a higher insight, then you leave that one, and then I mean, and meaning like there's no, and at the end, she's basically said that I forgot what she actually said right at the end. I have to read it again. But I think it was that there would be one place where there would be like one truth which everybody would. I'm sorry, actually, I don't know.
Jaya Arunachala.
Yeah, something. I know there would be like that one, but she made it really clear that at every level or whatever, you're going to live that truth. You're going to experience the world as you've understood it to be from the scripture itself. I mean, and there are more and more and more deeper understandings of that same sentence or that same thing. Yeah, that's what she was actually saying.
Do you go lower to go higher or no?
Yeah, that's the ladder thing. I was just thinking about that.
It is all. One time enlightenment. Just little to the right. My?
As you know, I sent you a spiritual report. It's been a long time. So once, I mean, every time I thought to write it and send it to you, but there is something stopping me, wanting me to observe myself more. About today, the sister who is behind me, she said she's finding it easier to be in God's presence. So I kind of feeling the same thing from past couple of months, and I'm sure mostly people who are experiencing this, that they're finding easier to be in God's presence. It's not a overnight thing. They must have been working hard and years of practice, maybe months of practice. But what I realized that once we find it easier, then God also makes us realize that it was all His love, grace, and help, His help, truly His help that made this path easier. And of course, it's a lifetime project. You don't have to be excited and stop here. I still, there are a lot of things you have taught us, Father, but I just firmly held a couple of things which really helped me. And that too still God makes me realize that it was His grace. And I remember the first message I sent you last year in August. And I asked you, Father, can I ask the material things like job, wealth, house, relationship from God, even though I know that He's the only source of provision. And I was expecting you will say, yeah, yes, you can. But you just made one statement, only seek Him, my child. You said that. And I thank you for that, for seeing that potential that I could implement that in my life. And it took me months to work on that by God's grace. And there was a time that I told God, that God, even though I'm not saying this in words, that I have desires, I'm not saying this from my mouth but the desire is still in my heart, and you know that. But I promise you, God, that I won't say it in words from my mouth. I'll do that at least by your grace. And I did that till now. I did not ask God anything. But that was little difficult, but it was coming along. God making it easier. But then all of a sudden, I come across your book, True Surrender. And that, sorry?
Okay, something I know that
True Surrender.
True Surrender was
It's a compilation of your satsang.
We never actually printed it. Was it here in the library?
Yeah, but I printed it. I took the PDF, and then I got like 10 books. Somebody requested on Facebook, about your books, and Adrian, his name is, right? Adrian?
Yes.
Yeah, he sent a message to him that I have sent you through your email. And then I asked him, can you please send me? And he sent like 10 or 12 books. And all of a sudden my eyes was on True Surrender because I wanted to do that. And that could have helped me with this desire thing. And when I started reading, I felt like it was meant to come in that moment, that book. And that really helped me. That shifted so much. And that made it easier, Father. Yeah. And as soon as that became easier, then the second thing in one of the satsang you said about instant forgiveness. And that was the thing. That was another project came in my life, and I was like, I want to do it, God. I want to work on it. And because I live in a locality where there was 3 people whom I hated, whom I never wanted to forgive in my life. One was my brother-in-law, my cousin. She passed away 18 years ago. She committed suicide, and people blamed on her husband because they were having fight and what. So I never looked at him. Since we live in the same locality, I would come across him, and then I turn my face. I never, generally in the Muslim, they greet each other with salam alaikum, like peace be upon you. But I never did that. And then he understood, and he also never spoke to me. And there was another, my neighbor, who was my father's age. He was like father figure to me. And once he was beating his child so badly that I had to intervene, and I pushed him, and then I shouted at him. And after that, I never spoke to him. He just lives next door. And third was my aunt, my mother's sister. And something happened, and I told her I will never come to your house.
I see.
I'll never talk to you, and you also don't talk to me. Even though she always loved me. And so that was also like few years ago. So when you told this instant forgiveness, that was in my mind all the time. And there was some inner voice which was saying, I can do it. That Mazhar, you can do it. And I had full faith that I can do it, Father. But there was something which was, I needed that push. And for that, then I messaged you that, Father, I want to be in your presence. And then I came here for 3 months. And even though there was no satsang happening, but there's something in me which was telling me, just go. Even if you have to meet him once in a month, it should be fine. And I'll tell you the reason later that how that helped me. And so I came here, and by God's grace, satsang also started after a few days. And so those 3 people were still in my mind, but things became easier when I was here 3 months. So when I went there, the first person I interacted, he was my neighbor, of course. So he was just sitting there. I reached early morning, and he was there, and there is a voice. This, okay, Mazhar, 3 months you spent with your father, and you learned about spirituality, and you wanted to now just do it. So I faced him and I said, Salam Alaikum, and he replied back, and he asked me, where were you? And then I said, yeah, I was in Bangalore. He said, all good, yeah, all good. And since then we started greeting each other. So that was by God's grace, that was one thing. And then after a few days, I met my brother-in-law. He was just passing by, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I greeted him with smile, and he smiled back, and he also greeted me back. And that was, I could see there is a relief in him, through his expression, that something freed him, and to me also. And all these things, it just happened that, Father, they came across me. It's not, I didn't have to wait. Just one day, after 2 days, the other person. And then we got an invitation of a cousin's wedding, and then my sister, my mom's sister came, my aunt. She also present there. And so I just went to her, and I didn't say anything, Father. I just went and hugged her. She hugged me. There was no exchange of sorry, but there was love she could feel. And she said, you please come to my house. I said, I will come tomorrow. She said, what you would like to eat? I said, you make whatever you want, I will come. And she made all the dishes which I like, the desserts, and God just made it easier, Father. Yeah. It felt like, it was so simple and took so many years. Then the third project came, which was in one of the satsang you mentioned that you mentioned about the japa, the zikr, which we are doing, and using God's attributes. But those, I'm just paraphrasing, like, I don't know the exact word, but you said it has to reflect through you God's attributes, and the same day or the next day, I was, you mentioned in the group about this Sufi saint, Ibn Arabi. Yeah. And when I was reading about him, and he mentioned that that our goal should be japa, the zikr is fine, doing zikr on God's attribute, absolutely fine. But our goal should be those attributes of God should reflect through you. And that hit me, and I was like, I want to do it. And it's very difficult, but I would love to do that. And 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 at the same time, I also read from one of the Sufis that what I'm trying to convey, that, Father, it's all this I did, it's only happened by God's grace. Yes. now I started to see that, there is nothing in our hand.
Yeah.
Or we feel like, I can do it, but there is nothing I can do it without his will, without his grace. There's nothing we can do that. And that makes it more easier and make more sense.
Yeah.
And no matter what, I have decided that no matter what somebody have done to me or will do to me, even though my mind will give all the logical reasons not to forgive,
Yeah.
I would just forgive. I will just think of Jesus and I will just say, Father, they do not know what they are doing. Please forgive them. I don't want to use my mind. I don't want to do anything. I just want to forgive. So I realized this all from past couple of years being with you. It's not like I started reading about spirituality or started to walk on this path from couple of years. I remember I was in grade 12. I had a friend who told me to start doing namaz, and I was very influenced by him because he used to pray 5 times at that early age. So I also wanted to be like him, and he would guide me, he would give me books. So that this journey started from I was maybe like 17, 16, 16, 17. So I read so many books, Father. I read Quran so many times, like so many times. You can ask me anything from the Quran, I can tell you that what it is written. But that didn't change me. That didn't make any shift in me. Just knowledge, 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 knowledge. So it was like I was reading about swimming from the book, but I don't know how to swim. So in this past couple of years, you taught me how to swim. I'm not saying I'm an expert in that now. It's a lifetime project, but you did help me. So that is the difference. And like Ibn Arabi said, that attributes of God should reflect from you. And we can see that's reflecting to you, Father. I know you do not like to hear the praises, but we have to be appreciative of God, and I appreciate and I praise that attributes of God which is reflecting through you, and in that presence we all are benefiting, and I love you, Father. Thank you so much, and thank you, Mira, for having trust in me and introducing me to Father. Thank you so much. Thank you, Father.
Very beautiful report. I'm very touched by it. Especially the 3 instances of forgiveness. In the world, they can seem like such big things, especially your brother-in-law. To mend your relationships in this loving way, it's very good. God's grace, and may His grace continue to guide you, to bless you. Full blessings. These are miracles. Huh? To forgive a brother or sister when they seem unforgivable, that's a miracle. And you're right, it can only happen by God's strength. But we have to turn towards Him. And when we keep our head turned towards Him, then He gives us the sign of His will, His strength, everything. Very good.